All right, it says we're live. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Got the elder Yahweh with me here. I'm the brother Aina from the GMS Dallas camp, and we're going to be continuing the series of 2 Samuel. And when you go to the previous videos, we covered up until this point, the Bathsheba situation, and then the last video we did was on the judgment for that, which was David's son getting put to death. Okay, and the prophet told King David that he was going to experience troubles, right? And so this is the beginning of those troubles that he was slated to go through. Okay, due to the murder, okay, of Bathsheba's husband, and then ultimately the adultery that went before that. So let's go ahead and start here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Share my screen here. All right. And we're going to start here in 2 Samuel chapter 13. It's a longer chapter, so we're going to go through. It's more like a narrative, but we're definitely going to have the commentary on it. So Lord willing is edifying. First, we're going to get the backdrop. So the people that's mentioned here is David's children. Okay, David had sons, and he also had a daughter, Tamar. Okay, and Amnon was David's oldest son. Okay, so Amnon was basically, you could say, like he was supposed to be the one that received the firstborn blessing and so on and so forth, because he was David's first son. He was David's oldest son. Okay, so it says, and it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister. Okay, because remember, David had multiple wives, and he had different children with different wives. Okay, so Absalom and his sister Tamar had the same mother and the same father. Okay, it says whose name was Tamar, and Amnon, the son of David, loved her. Now Amnon had a different mother, but they both had, Amnon and Absalom and Tamar, they all had the same father, but Absalom and Tamar had the same mother, and Amnon had a different mother. So you could say that was like their half Amnon was like their half brother. And so it says that Amnon, the son of David, loved her. Now, first we're going to get these names. Okay, we're going to get these names and what they mean. Absalom, we went into it before, but we'll get it again. Strong's H53, Abaya Shalom, okay, which is my father is peace. Abba is father. Yah at the end of the word is my, and then Shalom is peace. Okay, and then you have Tamar, okay, which I believe that means lily, if I'm not mistaken. Or palm tree, Salaki. Strong's H85, 59, Thamar, which means palm tree. Okay, you can see there. Okay, so the daughter of David by Ma'akah, which is one of David's wives. Okay, so let's go back here, and then also you have Amnon. Okay, Amnon, Strong's H55, 550. It says Amana one. Okay, Amana one. Okay, or Aman one. It says faithful, right? Like you get the word Aman, right, which is faith. Okay, and then Aman one would be, you could say, like, make it like a plural in a way, and it says faithful. Okay, So in verse 2, it says, and Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister. Now in verse 1, it says what? That Amnon loved Tamar, right? And by the way, this is an adult video, okay, if you will. So if this is like too sensitive of a topic or whatever, the topic of grape is in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of them chapters that goes into the realities of that. Okay, and so it says, and Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, meaning basically he wanted to deal with her, like he wanted to get with her. And the commentary actually talks about that briefly. I'm gonna get here on the Bridgeway Bible commentary. It says the first of the foretold disgraces that fell on David's family followed the same pattern as David's own sin: sexual immorality followed by murder, with the murderer carefully plotting on how to get rid of his victim. Right. So again, going back to chapter 12, going back to chapter 12, when we went into 2 Samuel 12, the prophet Nathan told David, you're going to have another man sleep with your wives. It's going to be known publicly. You're going to have troubles with your family, so on and so forth. Right. And so this is the beginning of those things playing out. You had something you was going to say, Zaquan?
No, you got it.
Okay, yeah. So going back to the commentary real quick, it says, with the murderer carefully plotting on how to get rid of his victim. So let's go back and let's read some more. Okay. It says, and Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, meaning he wanted to get with her so bad, he started getting sick. Like he started like, you could see it that he was, visibly something was wrong. Something was wrong with him. You know what I mean?
Look the word up.
Yeah. Let's get that word.
Yeah, look up vexed, and then look up sick.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Strong's H3334. Yatzazar. Distressed. To be straightened, to be in a bind, to be in distress, to be cramped, to be in straits, to be scant, right? Scant. Yeah. You look that word up.
Yeah, he going through it. He wanted so bad.
Yep.
Like you said, you can see it on him.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So he was tripping. What does it say here? Straightened, to be narrow, in perplexity, right? To be grieved. Oh yeah, that's actually the word here that it says here in 2 Samuel specifically. That word Yatzazar in this verse means to be grieved. He was grieved, right?
Yeah.
So that was that word for vexed, right? And then sick is H2470 chala. Okay. Again, being sick or become weak, right? To become diseased, to become grieved or sorry. So he basically became weak because he was, he was like
he was through. Yeah.
He was tripping, man. Like that he had a strong lust demon on him, man. Like basically to where like, you can lust after a woman if she's a virgin, okay, according to the law, but your own sister, that's off limits, man. You see? So you're not supposed to, you know what I'm saying?
Supposed to uncover the nakedness.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if
matter of fact, we should get that in the law.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll look for it.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Uncover our sister's nakedness is what I'm thinking to work.
Yeah, I'll continue reading on a little bit more in verse 3.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it?
No. I was saying you just keep on reading. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, continuing on verse 2, it says, and Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin, and Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. right? Because again, she was that was his sister, man, right? Like he knew the law. You know what I'm saying? He knew that what he desired in his flesh was wrong. You know what I mean? And he was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to. I would, he wanted to marry her, but he knew that he wasn't gonna be able to. You know what I mean? But she was a virgin. She was pretty, whatever. So it says in verse 3, but Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother. So one of David's nephews, one of his wicked ass nephews, uh, basically came to Amnon and got in his ear, right? It says, and Jonadab was a very subtle man, okay? Like basically able to whisper in somebody's ear and get them to convince them to do something. Matter of fact, that's in the Apocrypha, where it talks about taking not heed to every counselor, roughly paraphrasing. You know what I'm saying? Because he's
I,
gonna.
I found it.
Okay.
It's
You,
Leviticus 18 and 11. It
okay.
says the nakedness of thy fathers. Hold up. Matter of fact, it's 9. Leviticus 18 and 9. It says the nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that, yeah, that's going into what we talking about with Tamar and Amnon.
Right. Yeah. According to the
You know
law.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yep. According to the law, man. So you're not supposed to get down like that. You know what I mean? And so he knew that. You know what I'm saying? Amnon knew that. He knew that. He knew that, and so he basically this dude, Shemiah, or excuse me, Shemaiah. Matter of fact, let me get his name in the Hebrew. Let me get his name in the Hebrew real quick. Strong's H8093. Shemaiah. Okay, fame. It says fame here. Shemai means to hear, believe. Yeah, to hear. Also fame. Okay, so like a report or a hearing. Okay, like a report or a hearing. Okay, the hearing. Okay, it says fame here. So Shemaiah. Okay, it says. Um, oh, and then Jonadab. I'm sorry. Yeah, because that's David's brother's name. My bad. Jonadab. All right. Strong's H3122. Yawanadab. Yawanadab, which is Most High is willing. Yeah, so they had these righteous names, man, but they was all wicked, you know.
Right.
So it says he was a very subtle man in verse 4, and he said unto him, why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. So you see this dude, Jonadab, he came to Amnon, and said, "Hey, look, man, what's wrong? Like, you know, why you,
Looking all through.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Why you looking lean and skinny like you lose? You got bags under your eyes like you ain't sleeping at night, tossing and turning. You know what I mean? Why are you looking like this? So tell me what's going on, right?" And these guys, they were royalty, so they had time to do this dumb shit, like, you know what I mean, like they had time to just be free. And you know like most people at that time, they had to work. They didn't have time to just look around and be bored and be idle. You know what I mean? But David he was a man of substance. So even David's sons had servants and houses of their own, you know, and so they had plenty of time on their hands. And you see, Amnon said he loves Tamar, his brother's sister. I wonder if that word love is a hob, or if it's another word. Um, yeah, Ahab. See, but that was really lust. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Really, he lusted. He lusted after her. I wonder if it has anything. It's probably a big entry to love, to delight, a lover, especially in a bad sense. Okay, yeah, one given to licentious intercourse. Yeah, so sometimes it can go it could be in a bad, it could be in a bad sense too. You know what I'm saying? So let's go back here. And it says, oh, he said his brother Absalom's sister, but guess what? That was Tamar's sister. I mean, Tamar was Amnon's sister too, right? So it wasn't just like, oh yeah, my brother Absalom's sister. No, nigga, you love your sister, but he didn't say that. He said,
Right.
oh, I love my brother's sister, but really Tamar was his sister too. You know, just because it's like, oh, we don't have the same mother. You know what I mean? Like, nah, that's you. Y'all have the same father. Y'all got the same father.
Right.
That's your sister, man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Simple as that. It says in verse 5. It says in verse 5. Oh, and the scriptures say in Sirach, man, not to look upon the beauty of a woman. You know what I'm saying? Let me see here. Um,
Yeah, and then we read the law.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It talks about that. Second Samuel. Let's see. It might not have the okay, Songs Solomon. It might not have the oh, hold on. Let me go.
As I said, if you modify the search to the apocrypha,
Yeah, I didn't
it should come right up.
oh, okay, yeah, there we go. The water, yep. Yep, there we go. The water. Yep. Sirach 9 and 8. It says, turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. Okay. For herewith love is kindled as a fire. So, we bring out these scriptures on just, these women in general. Okay. But hey, even your, like, you could, in this case, he got seduced by his own, like the sister probably wasn't doing nothing really that she, what I'm saying, wasn't supposed to do, but she was just, she was just being herself. But, he got seduced and he got deceived by her beauty. And it says, for herewith love is kindled as a fire, and really is lust. You see what I'm saying? Like love in the sense of lusting after, after her. Because that was his sister. He probably grew up seeing her from, you know what I mean? He started probably seeing her
Mm-hmm.
more than other women and had an effect. So like now you gotta fight evil thoughts, man. You gotta fight that shit, man. You know, I'm talking to Amnon, like he didn't fight
Yep,
it.
and that and that's what I'm saying. That was the curse put upon David's household. Like you said in the commentary, David committed adultery and murder. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So now, sexual deviance.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Now on the cool, if that wasn't his sister, it would have been all good. He just had to pay the father 50 shekels because
Right.
she was a virgin. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just to put that aspect of it out there and acknowledging the times,
Yep.
how things was.
Con.
You
Yep.
know,
That's
you
right.
got it.
Yep. That's right. It says, let's see here. So it says, and Jonadab said unto him, lay thee down on thy bed and make thyself sick. And when thy father cometh to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, that I may see it and eat it at her hand. So a plot, you know what I mean? Basically, a wicked plot that they had set up, or that Jonadab, put in Amnon's mind, and basically he went right with it. Amnon didn't take a second thought and say, you know what? Nah, man, this is wrong. I'm tripping. You see? Because guess what? Jonadab didn't even tell him what to do next. He just said, look, I'm gonna show you how to get how to get in close with your sister. You know, Amnon didn't even have to. He put the rest of the pieces of the puzzle together, right? And so that's what he did. Verse 6. So Amnon lay down and made himself sick, right? So he literally acted like he was sick. Oh, I'm so sick. I can't get up. To the point where David came in and was checking up on him. Like, yo, you know what I mean? You good? Right? Like it says in verse 6. And when the king
Yeah.
was come, oh, you had something?
No, I'm just saying he jived the jive time sucker.
Yeah. Yeah,
He was jiving.
man. Yeah, man. He was acting, man. So he literally, this is all this for some box, by the way. And by the way, this is the king's son, the king's first oldest son, and he acting like this, man. So, but
Yeah.
this is the judgment that David had to experience. He put those demons on, on Amnon to do this, right? It says, so Amnon lay down and made himself sick. And see, this is why we go into like how intricate and detailed the Most High is, man. He will put spirits. He's the father of spirits. So he'll allow certain spirits to plague you or plague certain people around you if he so sees fit to punish you in that specific way. So it's important to remember, man, the Most High controls everything. Okay, it says, and when the king was come to see him, Amnon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come and make me a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat at her hand. You see, so he wanted to basically, get in close with his sister, right? And David consented, right? It said that then David sent home to Tamar, saying, Go now thy brother, go down to thy brother Amnon's house and dress him meat. See, so even the women, like, they were back then, they were more subservient. Because I'm trying to imagine, my little sister cooking something for me. She probably look at me crazy if I ask her, hey, can you make me, what I'm saying? Make me some food, So of course the women, they were more in order back then, right? And it says, so Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he laid down, and he was laid down, and she took flour and kneaded it and made cakes in his sight and did bake the cakes, right? So she basically made him his favorite meal or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, she baking cakes. He looking at cakes.
Yeah. God, right?
That baby had no idea.
Man, that's really wicked, man. It's like, bro, that's really messed up, bro. You know what I'm saying? What Amnon did, man. That was some whole ass activities, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And this is what David brought up on his own household, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Sexual immorality and murder.
Yep. Con.
You got it.
Con. It says, and she took a pan and poured them out before him, but he refused to eat. Right. So she literally made the cakes and said, okay, here you go. Boom. And then he said, I can't eat, as if he was that sick to where, he was unable to, to even eat or whatever. And Amnon said, have out all men from me. And they went out every man from him. So you're like, look, take all these guys, all of my servants and my guards, get them out of here. Right. And so they all left. It says, and Amnon said unto Tamar, bring the meat into my chamber. So he said, look, come into my bedroom, Tamar, and bring me the cakes. So, it says that I may eat of thine hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made and brought them into the chamber to Amnon, her brother. So she literally brought the food, the cakes to his bedroom. Right. And this is as everyone is out of the house, nobody's there, or the outside, I'll say, right? It says in verse 11, and when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her and said unto her, come lie with me, my sister. So this is all this whole from verse 1 all the way to verse 11 was this whole big ass plot for him to get it in with his sister, right? And he wanted to seduce her, and he wanted to take her virginity. You know what I mean? And so she wasn't turned on by that. She was like, nah, man. Right? Verse 12 it says, and she answered him, nay, my brother, do not force me. Right? Because he was grabbing her. He was wilding. He was trying to
Yeah, he was tripping.
you know what I'm saying? He was like, for real, like, yo, you gonna get down with me, right? And she said, no, my brother, don't force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel, right? She knew, no, you're not supposed to. A sister and brother, they're not supposed to, uncover each other's nakedness. It says, do
Yep,
not.
she was referring to the law. Yep, she
Right.
was referring to the law. Hey, I'm gonna read it in the NLT
Yep.
when you finish that verse.
Yep. It says, do not thou this folly. Yep. So
All right,
yep. Go ahead.
all right. I'm gonna read it in the NLT. This 2 Samuel 13. The topic is the rape of Tamar.
Mm-hmm.
It says, now David's son Absalom had a beautiful sister named Tamar, and Amnon, her half brother, fell desperately in love with her. Amnon became so obsessed with Tamar that he became ill.
Mm-hmm.
She was a virgin, and Amnon thought he could never have her. And Amnon thought he could never have her. But Amnon had a very crafty friend, his cousin Jonadab. He was the son of David's brother Shimeah. One day, Jonadab said to Amnon, what's the trouble? Why should the son of the king look so dejected morning after morning?" So Amnon told him, "I am in love with Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister." "Well," Jonadab said, I'll tell you what to do. Go back to bed and pretend you are ill. When your father comes to see you, ask him to let Tamar come and prepare some food for you. Tell him you'll feel better if she prepares it as you watch, and feeds you with her own hands." So Amnon lay down and pretended to be sick. And when the king came in to see him, Amnon asked, please let my sister Tamar come in to cook my favorite dish as I watch. And then I can eat it from our own hands." So David agreed and sent Tamar to Amnon's house to prepare some food for him. When Tamar arrived at Amnon's house, she went to the place where he was lying down so he could watch her mix some dough. And this is exactly what's going on in the movie. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? In that scene I sent you.
Yep.
Uh, then she baked his favorite dish for him, but when she set serving the tray before him, he refused to eat. "Everyone get out of here," Amnon told his servants. So they all left. "So then," said Tamar, "now bring the food into my bedroom and feed it to me here." So Tamar took his favorite dish to him. But as she was feeding him, he grabbed her and commanded her. He grabbed her and demanded, come bed with me, my darling sister." "No, my brother," she cried. "Don't be foolish. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this to me. Such wicked things aren't done in Israel." You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
just to get another version of it to make it a little more plain.
Right. Yeah, man. Because she, you can imagine the scene, like you said, she feeding him the cakes and he getting all, aroused, and you know what I mean? And she just, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that, I mean, y'all, you got, most brothers got siblings, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a sibling, like, especially, okay, like if you have like a younger sibling, like I have, younger sibling where, shoot, I fed them, when they was babies, you know what I'm saying? Fed them food and stuff like that. Like, you do stuff like that. Or when they sick, you might, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So that's the spirit she was in. But Amnon, he had a whole nother agenda in mind. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So, he had a lustful spirit, and Tamar just had a natural love, to say, okay, let me, cater to him, whatever. He's requesting this. Hopefully it gets better. You know what I'm saying? So he took
Yeah.
advantage of that.
Yeah. By the time she got done cooking the meal, he was so worked up. Shit, man.
Yep, I got a precept real quick. Going
Yeah.
into that council that keep forgetting his name. What's your boy's name up here? Um, Jonadab gave to
Yeah.
Amnon. Let's go to Proverbs 19 and 27. It says, "Cease, my son, to hear the instruction that causeth to err from the words of knowledge." You see, because again, you had Amnon taking that wicked counsel, you know, and basically that led to the I'll say grape, of his cousin. You know what I'm saying? Because they were all related, man. Talking about Jonadab
Yeah.
and Amnon and Tamar, like that. That's he basically Jonadab basically sold. He didn't say, nah, pray to the Most High. You know what I'm saying, to get that demon off you, right? He basically gave strength to the demon that Amnon had on him.
Right.
You
Yep.
know.
Yep. Coached him up.
Yep. So both of them was in the wrong. Okay. But it says, let's see here. Oh, we already read that part, right? So it says, verse 14, howbeit he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her. So, he took advantage of her, and I want to go to the commentary real quick to read this here. It says, Bridgeway Bible commentary, Amnon, David's eldest son, tried to seduce his half sister Tamar, but when Tamar resisted him, he took advantage of her. Right? It says, cruelly, Amnon then drove Tamar away, and the young princess cried bitterly at the loss of her virginity in such circumstances, which we're about to read. Okay, so let's continue on there. Okay, and it says in verse 15, then Amnon, so this is okay, so now he forced himself upon her. So he got what he wanted, right? And then this is what happened. This shows you obviously we already know he had a demon, but this shows you he had a demon on him. It says, then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love, or really the lust, wherewith he had loved her. And Amnon said unto her, arise and be gone. Right. So he's, now he hated, like, he just started hating her basically because she didn't want it, like probably didn't play out in his head the way he want. He probably was fantasizing all this time of how she was going to be all up into him and all this and that, right? Because the thing is, going back to verse 13, when she said, here, uh, in verse 13, now therefore I pray thee, speaking to the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. When you get that in the NLT, she said, look, please just speak to the king about it, and he will let you marry me. Right? So she was like, look, like, okay, look, you know what I'm saying? Okay, you know what I'm saying? You wanna get with me, you know what I mean? Just speak to the king. You know what I mean? Speak to our father. She didn't even say speak to our dad. She said speaking to the king. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's the same person, speaking to the king for, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he might let you marry me. Like, she was like even trying to work with him. You know what I mean? She was pulling out all the stops to prevent him from doing, what he was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So she didn't really even. He had the demons on him. She really, you know what I'm saying, was doing what she could in the situation to avoid it, right? But he's the one that had the demons on, right? So it says, Obviously, we know he took advantage of her, and then he hated her afterwards and told her. It says, and Amnon said unto her, "Arise, be gone." Okay, it says, and she said unto him, "There is no cause. This evil in sending me away is greater than the other that thou didst unto me." But he would not hearken unto her, right? Because what happens when you take a woman's virginity, that becomes your wife, and now he's putting her away, but you're not supposed to put a woman away, save for the. I mean, damn, he just popped her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was so many wrong things that he did. Like it was just a terrible situation, you know. And in verse 17 it says, when he called his servant that ministered unto him, it says, then he called his servant that ministered and said, "Put now this woman out from me, and bolt the door after her." So the guards, come get this woman out of here, but you just over here begging her to make food, and oh, come everybody get out so she can feed me by her hand, and
Come get this bitch.
you know what I'm saying? So obviously he had demons on him, man. You can imagine, like, this is a super low point in Israelite history. Like, this is, shit that
Yeah,
the wicked. This is a Negro, so-called Negro, did this shit. You know what I'm saying?
man.
So yeah, yep. So so it says
A Judite did this.
right.
They was Judah. They was Judah back then.
Yeah, yep. Exactly, a Judite. You know what I mean?
Judah acting a fool.
Yep. So obviously.
But it just goes to show you. It just goes to show you how wickedness can affect the household. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? I said David got put through the ringer for what he did instead of the Lord putting her to death. You know what I'm saying? And you got to
Mhm.
think. You got to put yourself in their shoes now in your walk. You know what I'm saying? You can destroy your own household by making rash decisions and doing and doing wickedness. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up wickedness. You
Mhm.
know, I would say we can't sleep with each other's wives and all that type of stuff, man. All this time, how many years later? You know what I'm saying? It still don't fly.
Mhm.
You know, that's why I will say that's a very serious offense. You know what I'm saying? But we don't live in a time to where you can be put to death for that by the person that you offended. We don't live in that time. You can't take a man to the judge and say, "Look, this man slept with my wife," and have witnesses, and they kill both of them. That's not gonna happen in today's society. You see? So you get excommunicated from the congregation. You know, it's a way that thing happens. And what David did, what he did, you seeing the results. You seeing the disarray in his household based off that.
Mhm.
You know, so if it can happen to him, it can happen to me. It can happen to you. You know what I'm saying? If we out there, you know what I'm saying, being all loose, the Lord can deal with you. So it instills that fear of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It instills that repentance to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It's so many things that you can learn from these accounts. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're going through them. You got
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this precept. Uh, Ecclesiastes 3. This is Ecclesiastes 3:15. It says, "That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past." Meaning the acts and the deeds that you've done in the past, is going to be required of you, man. And basically, this is that was a judgment. What just happened here, what we just read here, that was judgment on David too, because again, that brought shame to his house. Oh, your son, sexually took advantage of your daughter, of his sister, like basically, like, incest. Like, that's, like, people can talk about that, like, yo, yeah, his family's fucked up. His son
Right.
and his daughter, they got together. You know what I mean? That's a shameful thing, right? And it says, well, actually, that was it on that in that Ecclesiastes. Going back to the Second Samuel 13 and 17 or verse 18, it says, and she had a garment of diverse colors upon her, for with such robes were the king's daughters that were virgins apparelled. Then his servant brought her out and bolted the door after her. So he took her out. She probably crying and shit, and because she was trying to like talk about it. He wouldn't even want to talk. Like after he already did what he did, she was still like no, why you trying to put me away? Like you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Took him out.
You just took it. Yeah, you just took it.
Like, and like you said, according to the law, you know what I mean? Like, we feel like we read it almost every other time we go into this book, like the whole thing. If a man takes a woman, if she's a virgin, you got to pay the father. Like, she was trying to work and deal. She wasn't even.
She wasn't betrothed to nobody or nothing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And the 50, what you gonna get the 50 shekels to your pops?
Right.
That shit was just all kind of out of pocket.
But at least he could have just at least tried to work it out. Nope. So he just transgressed on top of transgress. So it says in verse 19, and Tamar put ashes on her head and rent her garment of diverse colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head and went on crying. Right. So she was in the right spirit. She was lamenting. Right. She was like, damn, I don't know what to do, this and that. Like she was like, she basically got taken advantage of. Okay. And the Lord allowed that. At the end of the day, the Lord allowed it, but it was still obviously shameful, you know what I mean? Because nobody actually saw what happened. Nobody was there, but she knew that she was never going to be able to be married, because what you got the token of the virginity, her tokens. She would no longer be able to prove the tokens of her virginity, because her virginity already got taken by her brother. And then so it was, even if she tried to hide it or whatever, it was eventually going to get found out anyway. You know what I mean? But she was like, look. Like before he even forced himself on her, which she was obviously caught by surprise. Before he even forced himself on her, she told him, like, look, just speak to the king and ask him, can you have, like, you know what I mean? She was willing to. She just was like, anything, but you forcing yourself on me, anything but that, right? And then on top of that, he not only did he do that, then he cast her out of his sight. He was like, man, he hated her worse than he had lusted after her. So you can imagine all the emotions that was going on in her head. So of course she's, lamenting heavily, right? Publicly, like everybody's like probably like, damn, what the hell is going on? And it says in verse 20, and Absalom, her brother, said unto her, hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? But hold now thy peace, my sister. He is thy brother. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. So Amnon caught whiff of it, right? Absalom caught word of what happened. And he just told her, hey, Tamar, damn, this is true. Damn. Okay, well, you know what? Just lay low, hold your peace. Like he basically told her, hey, just calm down. You know what I mean? Don't even worry about it. And he just left it at that. It's like a damn, I feel like I'm watching a TV drama. You know what I mean? Because, like you can imagine Absalom like calming her and telling her, don't worry. And in the back of his mind, he thinking on how to kill his brother Amnon for taking advantage of his sister. You see, because that's exactly what happened when you continue reading. It says, but when King David heard of all these things, he was very wroth. Right, so word got out, to King David that Amnon had taken advantage of his sister, and of course he was pissed off. I mean, I can't even imagine how I would feel hearing that news. You know what I mean?
Man,
I don't
man.
even, I can't even compute the emotions that I would feel hearing something like that. Your firstborn son taking advantage of, taking advantage of your daughter, and then you can start to get to thinking about how the Lord starting to judge you for the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
that He did. Like you start to getting to think about how the Lord said, well, through Nathan, like, hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm just going to cause you to have family problems, and them problems be one of the worst problems to have, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just write your family off, like you tied to them, you know. So it says, verse 22, and Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon, neither good nor bad, for Absalom hated Amnon because he had forced his sister Tamar. So he didn't even say nothing to him. Absalom didn't even say anything to Amnon. Like he didn't confront him about it. He didn't say nothing good or bad. He acted as if almost as if it didn't even happen. Right, for 2 years he didn't say nothing. This wasn't just 2 weeks go by or a couple of days. 2 years after this incident, Absalom didn't say nothing to Amnon this whole time. He didn't show that he was upset, nothing. He showed no emotion, right? And it says in verse 23, and it came to pass after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal Hazor, which is beside Ephraim. Now, I want to get this in the commentary about the sheep shearers real quick. Um, because let's see here. Um, oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Um, in this David Guzik commentary, it says sheep shearing was a festive time, and it was natural that Absalom had a great feast and invited Amnon and all the king's sons. So when you shearing sheep, you're getting all that wool that you can use for clothing. You can sell it. You know, you can furnish. Furniture or whatever the case with it. This and that. So that was a very that was like a like that was basically like your corn is came to full harvest, and you basically getting the corn husk, or you getting the corn off of the crops. Like basically that was like a time of gathering, right? uh Gathering profits, right? So it was a thing of worthy of a celebration. Okay. And it says, um and Absalom invited all the king's sons. Okay, so again, this whole time Absalom plotting on how can I kill, like, how can I kill Amnon? You know what I mean? Like he was thinking about, okay, how can I get my revenge for 2 years? Which the scriptures say, vengeance is of the. Actually, let me get that scripture real quick. Vengeance is of the Lord. Oh, get it. Proverbs. Spelling it. Okay. There we go. Okay. Wow. The Lord and vengeance comes up 53 times in the scriptures. That's
Man,
something. Let's see here. Okay. I think it's in comes up a bunch of times. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's just get this in Proverbs here, or Psalms, excuse me. Um, this is Psalms chapter 94 and verse 1. It says, "O Lord Yahweh, to whom vengeance belongeth, O my power, to whom vengeance belongeth, show thyself." You see? So, see, not David, I'm sorry. Absalom didn't have this mindset that the Lord is going to avenge. Absalom said, "I'm going to take vengeance into my own hands." You see?
right.
Actually, I believe it's worded like this. Might be. Let's see. Um, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Romans 12 and 19. It says, Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, Vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord. You see? So again, we're not instructed to avenge ourselves, but let the Lord vindicate us. Because again, that was a messed up situation. And Absalom didn't have nothing to do with that. Up until this point, Absalom didn't have he was blameless. But now he's taking when same thing that happened with remember we went into that with the whole Abner and Joab situation. Joab sought vengeance on Abner and killed him, right? For his brother, I think it was Hazael, because Abner had killed Joab's brother. So Joab said, "You know what? I'm gonna use guile and I'm gonna kill Abner back in cold blood. For killing my brother, I'm gonna kill him." And that he put blood on his hands unnecessarily. Now that same spirit is on Absalom, right? That taking vengeance into your own hand spirit, which never leads into a good thing. Which we didn't get into. We haven't come to that part in the story where Joab got judged. Okay, and your brother should know Absalom. Eventually, he got judged too. You know what I mean? But we'll get into it, Lord willing. But anyway, it says what? Absalom avenges Tamar, right? So it says, and Absalom came to the king and said, Behold now, thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servants go with thy servant. Meaning, Absalom wanted David and all his servants to come, to a feast, because again, the occasion was that he was gleaning from the sheep. I think the NLT says it in a little bit different way. Yeah, it says, uh, yeah, it says in verse 24, he went to the king and said, My sheep shearers are now at work. Would the king and his servants please come celebrate the occasion with me? So this was an occasion, okay, worthy of celebration. Whenever you had sheep shearers coming to get the wool, off of the sheep, okay, because you could sell that. It was valuable. You can still make pillows and all type of stuff off of that. Wool, clothes, right? So it says, verse 25, and the king said unto Absalom, Nay, my son, let us not all now go, lest we be chargeable unto thee. Meaning, David said, no, we don't want to be a burden. We got all these, we're gonna have to bring all the servants and all the guards just to have a feast out there. Because again, Absalom was asking David to come out to basically his part of town. Saying I'll say land allotment that he had, kind of going more towards the borders of Ephraim, a little bit more. I think that would be a little bit more north from Jerusalem. And David said, no, just, you got it. You go out and do your thing. Right. And he pressed him. So Absalom tried to convince him. And it says, howbeit he would not go, but blessed him. So David still refused, even after Absalom double checked and said, please, can you come, man? Just come on, pops, come out here with us. But David was like, no, but may the Lord be with you, right? So, and this is all part of Absalom's plot, man. You see, so you see how far the spirit of vengeance can take you. It'll take you there, man. It'll make you take it there for sure. And says, verse 26, then said Absalom, if not, I pray thee, let my brother Amnon go with us. And the king said unto him, why should he go with you? Why should he go with thee? Right. So David was like, hold on, why would you want Amnon to come? I mean, you know what I'm saying? He dealt with those like in the back of his head. He was like, why would you want? Why I know you don't fuck with Amnon. David probably already knew that Absalom didn't. You know what I'm saying? Didn't really wasn't. I mean, who would feel cool about that? Your brother, your half brother, took advantage of your whole sister, right? But Absalom still. It says Absalom pressed him and that he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. So he disguised it in not just Amnon, all of the king's sons go and celebrate. He acted as if everything was cool. Absalom was acting like everything was cool. It's behind us, right? All to get that one opportunity to get that revenge. You see, and I think there's a couple more. There's just a few more verses.
It goes down to 37.
Yeah. So I'll breeze through this. It says, now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, mark ye now when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say unto you, smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous and valiant. So Absalom told his servants, hey, look, when Amnon gets drunk tonight and I tell you to kill him, you do it. And don't worry about how he's the king's son and all that, because I'm the one that commanded you. You're my servants. Be courageous and do as I command you. You see? So Absalom had this shit. He's had it down to a T, right? It says, and the servants of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man gat him up on his mule and fled. And it came to pass, while they were in the way, that tidings came to David, saying, Absalom hath slain all the king's sons, and there is not one of them left. Right? So a false report came to David, and basically before all of David's sons could return back, somebody heard hearsay that Absalom killed all of the sons, right? And so, they reacted accordingly. Right. Then the king, verse 31, then the king arose and tear his garments and lay on the earth, and all his servants stood by with their clothes rent. Right. So he was lamenting, thinking that all his sons were dead. Okay. But that wasn't really the case. It was only Amnon.
Amnon.
Yep. It was only Amnon that got killed. Okay. Because Absalom didn't have no beef with the with his other brothers, you know what I'm saying? It was just with Amnon. And so verse 32, it says, and Jonadab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother, so the same asshole that basically said to Amnon, hey, look, oh, you lusting after your sister Tamar, huh? Okay, well, this is all you got to do this, and this. This same dude was the one that said to David, hey, don't worry, David. It's just Amnon. It wasn't all of them, right? But really, this dude Jonadab, he the one that put the idea in Amnon's head. So this guy basically, I mean, Amnon, he's the one that did the dirty. He's the one that actually did it, but he gave the false, wicked counsel. We read the scripture in Proverbs. So it says, "Let not the Lord suppose that they have slain all the young men." The king's son, for Amnon only is dead, for by the appointment of Absalom this hath been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. Now therefore let not my lord the king take the thing to his heart, to think that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon only is dead. Okay, and so again, he knew this because he was part of the whole situation. Okay, but verse 34 says, but Absalom fled, and the young men that kept the watch lifted up his eyes. The young man that kept the watch lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there came much people by the way of the hillside behind him. Right, so he looked at the hillside and seen, okay, it's a group of people coming to the gates of the city. And Jonadab said unto the king, behold, the king's sons come. as as I servant said, so it is. So now this guy acting like this dude Jonadab, man, is really a sleazy sleazeball because he over here acting like, he's what's the word, faithful to the king, and giving this report and this and that. But nigga, you the one talking about Jonadab. This dude Jonadab is the one that gave Amnon, David's son, the wicked counsel. You see,
Yeah.
you know,
Your uncle is the king.
yeah, yep. And you basically consulted your cousin to do some crazy, wicked shit, right? It says, and it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of speaking, that behold, the king's sons came and lifted up their voice and wept. And the king also and all his servants wept very sore. Again, because they still, you know, they still were sad at the fact that the king's firstborn son got killed. You know what I mean? And it says, verse 37, but Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, the king of Geshur. And when you look this up, this is basically Absalom's grandfather, right? His mother's father. Because remember, his mother, um, she was from the king of Geshur. So Talmai is his mother's father. So this is basically his grandfather, right? It says, who I believe was a heathen too. It says, and David mourned for his son every day. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. And the soul of King David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Amnon, seeing he was dead. And I'll read that last verse in the NLT. It makes a little bit more sense. It says, and King David, now reconciled to Amnon's death, longed to be reunited with his son Absalom. So after 3 years, eventually he, you know what I mean? He stopped mourning for his dead son, and was like, man, damn, man, I miss my son, man. He's, gone for 3 years. So that's the end of chapter 13.
Man.
And that shows you, bro. That shows you. Well, I like the brother put up here on the screen, or on the precept. I'm gonna put it on the screen real quick. Galatians 5 and let me stop sharing this here. Galatians 5:17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would. Now, this dude Amnon, he completely what's the word? He completely ignored the spiritual aspects of, okay, let me do right by my my sister and this and that. Let me follow the law. He just completely threw that to the side and said,
all flesh, no breaks.
Yeah, man. Yep. So, that lets you know, man, that he was a wicked nigga anyway, talking about Amnon. But then Absalom, he brought destruction upon himself now, because now you killed your own brother.
Right. Murder.
Yeah.
Yep. Sexual immorality followed by murder.
Right. So now
that's what you did. That's what you did. That's how your family gonna be.
That's right. Man. So
you the head of the household of all this shit.
Yep. Con. And so I was gonna get this commentary real quick. Finish it out. All right. It says here in the second paragraph, it says David knew what had happened, but he did nothing. And Tamar's brother Absalom also knew and waited for an opportunity to take revenge on behalf of his sister. Right. So David didn't, he didn't do nothing, man. I noticed, like, in this chapter, David is like the Lord put the spirit on David to say yes to certain things, and do this certain tiny things that, because remember, Amnon requested that that Tamar be sent to his house.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had, again, David's response to to the situation, which it says right here he didn't do anything, right? He was upset, but he didn't really do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Which, you know, I mean, I guess what could you do? But he, the Lord put the spirit on him to where, eventually Absalom took matters in his own hands, and David consented to let Absalom and Amnon in the same vicinity, but he didn't think nothing was going to come of it because it was something that happened 2 years ago. But
Yeah, and it's a scene in the movie. Yeah, it's a scene in the movie where Absalom get mad at the king and go in on him. He like man, he like that's your daughter. Like you ain't gonna do nothing. It's a scene in the movie that go into that.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, you can imagine. Yeah, you could probably imagine. You could extrapolate. You know what I mean, and imagine. Everybody's reactions to what had happened and things like that. Putting yourself in the
Yeah,
story. You know what I mean, is a good way to do that. But what was written here shows exactly, just the strictly the accounts and what was happened and what had happened, and you could tell that the Lord is basically judging, what I mean, that David's house because of what he did with Bathsheba, you know, going back to chapter 11, what we went into a few weeks ago. So it all comes full circle, man. You see, it all comes full circle. Hey, like Yahweh Shai said, there's nothing hid that will not come to light. You know, Mark chapter 4 and 22. Okay, it says, "For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad." Because now you got to think, Amnon's legacy is the man that got killed by his brother for forcing himself upon his sister.
right.
That was his legacy. See, he thought that he was gonna. Amnon thought that he was gonna do what he did in secret, and you know what I'm saying, and be good. But like the scriptures say, man, the heart is deceitful above all things. So at the end of the day, man, like we gotta think, like, okay, what I'm about to do right here in secret, it has irreversible repercussions. Would
Right.
I still do this if everybody was seeing me do it? And if the answer is no, you should think twice.
Yeah, open the floodgates of wickedness, man.
Yep. Yep. So that's all I have to coin on it.
Con, that's what's up. I don't got nothing else.
Kind. Hey, well, Lord willing, Abaratazah, this was an edifying lesson. With that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom.